Hi, I'm RICO Simonini, and I'm just thrilled to be joining you live this Friday, June 11th, on the Gym Masters Live Show. So tune in this Friday, the 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. for those of you who are out here in sunny California.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Gym Master Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. How's everybody doing today? It's good to see all your smiley faces. Welcome to our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. It is good to see everybody watching from all around the world. We have an international audience of viewers. We call them the Lovities. They're really positive people and they watch every single day and they celebrate the show and they share and they tag and they comment on social media about it. They're in our Facebook group, JMS Live Lovity Hall, which is really cool, posting all kinds of photos. We love you all, and it's so cool to have you here. This is our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We started over 410 episodes ago, sort of born after my television or out of my television radio work, stage work on the air and behind the scenes and on camera as a host and producer, journalist, writer, actor, stage MC, personality, and all the rest. And it's so good to see everybody. We welcome you. It is a Friday at the time of this show. Again, we're live. We do the Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series, JMS Live. But those of you who are watching later in the archives, we welcome you as well. We know a lot of people like to binge watch our series later on, so we appreciate that as well. Hey, we toast everybody. We are always doing things in style here at JMS Live, the Gym Master Show Live. So we toast all of you on a Friday. We welcome you. We've got an amazing guest from Hollywood joining us. Yes. Well-known and brilliant actor, as well as screenwriter, film producer, and a renowned and respected cardiologist. At the top of the show, you saw a little preview promo clip that he did for us. RICO Simonini is here, originally from back east in New York, a Brooklyn, New York native. Made a wonderful name for himself as a brilliant actor, screenwriter, and film producer, as well as a respected cardiologist. Now, those of you who know him from his acting roles, his producing roles, the countless movies and plays and things he's been in, you might not know that he's also had an extraordinary career as a respected Los Angeles cardiologist. He absolutely does. So we're going to greet him in just a second. It's really an honor to have him here live and direct from Los Angeles. First, before we get going, we would love it if you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's right. That is the channel you're watching right now, Gym Masters TV. Reason why: it really helps our channel when you subscribe. YouTube follows all of that. And also click the notification bell so you never miss any of the amazing episodes of the Gym Masters Show Live. So please subscribe to the channel. We would love that. Good to have you part of the family. Gym Masters TV is the YouTube channel. Just click subscribe. Some people ask, when you subscribe, does it cost anything? No. It's just, I don't know why they call it subscribe. Makes you think you got to pay, but no, there's no cost. Just subscribe and you're in the fold here, and duly noted, and we really appreciate it. And if you want to be updated on the latest episodes, plus our surprise pop-up shows and everything else, make sure you click the notification bell so you don't miss any daily live episodes, any special episodes, on location episodes, host chat episodes, pop-up shows, and all the rest that we do. So there you see it on the screen. Gym Masters TV is the YouTube channel. Share it, tell everybody about it, and join us when you can. We appreciate it. So welcome, everybody. Good to have you here. We have our viewers, our lovelies who watch all around the world. They're posting away, and we greet all of you in style. We're going to check in with some of our lovely viewers all around the world in just a second. First, we want to welcome our very special guest to the show. And again, it's a real pleasure to have him here. He's really amazing. And if you are familiar with his work, well, let me tell you, he's been in just about every kind of movie you can think of. Look at some of the, this is the big one that we're talking about today. That really is a big, big honor. This is Frank and Ava, and he produced this, and he's really, really excited about this. We're talking about, the lives of Ava Gardner and Frank Sinatra. We're going to have some clips and all kinds of cool stuff, and some of the other productions that you may have seen that he's been in as well. A Good Day to Die Hard, and My Sister's Keeper, and Max Payne. These are just some. Stalked by My Doctor, Patient's Revenge. Just some of the amazing. God's Club. Productions, plays, movies, all kinds of cool things that Rico's been in. He's a great guy, and it's an honor and a pleasure to have him here on the show. Our viewers are going to be welcoming him as well in style. I already am just taking a look at all these great comments that are already here. And hey, gang, we thank you very much for joining us tonight. We welcome you to the show as well, and we thank you very much for joining us. And cool stuff. We also see that Eric and Eliza Roberts are here. We're watching. Welcome to the show, Eric and Eliza. It's good to have you here on the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We do this series out of the New York area here in the United States, between New York and Boston along the scenic southern New England coast. That's where we are. And we do this series 7 days a week live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, which is quite amazing. So my very special guest, Rico, is waiting in the wings. He's actually at his medical office right now. Let's welcome him to the show in style. Rico, Dr. Rico, good to have you with us.
Hey, Jim, great to be here. Great to be on the show. And thank you for that great introduction. That's I'm humbled.
My pleasure. Well earned and well deserved. How is things going today? Was it a busy Friday there where you are?
Well, it's, we're in the post-COVID era. So a lot of people have postponed, medical treatment and getting checkups and following up. And sadly, some people have had, cardiac problems, heart attacks, strokes. And we're seeing people as quickly as we can, because a lot of people have, put things aside, not exercise, or just stayed away from doctor's offices or hospitals. So it's, we're trying to play some catch up here,
Yeah. Yes. It's been something. You guys, we have relatives that are in the medical field as well, and everybody in the medical field and the first responders and grocery stores and post offices, all the different places. God bless you all, because you really have kept the wheels turning in extraordinary ways. And I know you're very probably humble about that when you hear people say that. But hey, you guys have been in the thick of it, trying to do what you can for everybody, and that's a beautiful thing, Rico. So hats off to you and all those like you who've been doing that.
Hey, thanks for saying that, because it is, as you said, a team effort. It's not just the doctors, nurses, everyone from the first responders to nurses' aides, even the guys hauling away garbage, making is in sterile containers. I mean, everybody takes a part, teamwork, and everybody worked together with this pandemic. So I think you're right. We all deserve that thank you, and thank you for mentioning that, Jim.
Oh, my pleasure. So what came first for you, the chicken or the egg? Was it acting or was it studying cardiology in the medical field?
Well, I came from Brooklyn, so in Brooklyn, everyone's kind of an actor anyway. I always tell people my first acting gig was when I was about 5-6 years old, and my dad was a big gambler, bet on horses. Matter of fact, anything the moved, he bet on horse, football, baseball. And there was a time where he owed money to some guy, and the guy came knocking at the door, says, "Hey, where's your father?" So I'm crying. Yeah. He was hiding upstairs. That was my first successful acting gig, I tell people. But no. If you're from Brooklyn, or New York in general, we're a city of characters, and everybody you observe is a character. There used to be a story that 8 million people in New York, 8 million faces, 8 million stories in the naked city, And then
Yes.
you come to LA, it's 4 million people, 5 stories, maybe 6, you know, and that's the
And
joke.
lots of hot tubs.
Lots of hot tubs. So I was always I loved old movies. I loved theater, but
Yeah.
I was also a science nerd. So when I was a
Yeah.
kid, one of the places I used to hiding was the public library. You know, partially because it was a quiet place to study. Secondly, we really couldn't afford the books for school because my dad was a gambler, and most of the times the horses lost by a nose. You know, so I spent times in the library reading books. And I remember there was this one book. It was called Your Heart and How It Works. It was written for kids. It was a cartoon book. And there's a cartoon of this guy standing on the planet Earth and arteries leading out of his heart to the moon. And it said if you took all the arteries in your body and put them end to end, they would go to the moon and back 3 times.
Wow.
And I said, wow, I have to learn about this. This is really cool stuff. So I became like this little kid science nerd. Says I want to be a doctor when I grow up.
Yeah.
And I would enter things in the science fair. I also be in the school play, you know. So I built the helium laser in the 7th grade. But I also was the lead in the play. And my mom was saying, didn't understand either one of them. She goes, "Why are you building a helium laser? We're going to blow up the school." I go, "Ma, it's like a pen light. It doesn't do anything." "No, it's a laser. I saw Star Trek." And then the school play, she'd be like, "What's with this acting thing? What is that going to get you?" So I enjoyed doing it. And as a kid, you know, my mom used to watch all the old black and whites. So I used to sit next to her and watch with her. I'd watch, you know, Clark Gable movies, Lana Turner, Elizabeth Taylor. And my mom would tell me all these great stories and the Hollywood gossip behind all these icons at the time. And as a kid, I think my ears grew first. I had these really big ears. And my mom goes, "Look at Clark Gable. He's got big ears. He's a handsome guy." So I used to love the old movies. And that was like the world that we escaped to, you know, because we didn't really have money to go on vacation, to go travel. You know, when you live in Brooklyn, your world's perspective is from reading the Daily News and the Bell Parkway. You know, it's not really a whole lot. So movies became that place, that magic place that we went to. And the stories were all about heroes, you know, men and women overcoming odds, finding love, finding wealth, finding their dreams, finding redemption. And it was very compelling to watch those stories. So I guess the backdrop of being the science nerd in the school was these movies at night that kind of kept me dreaming. Because if you come from the neighborhood I came from in Brooklyn and Bensonhurst, most guys I grew up with didn't even finish high school. You know, if they got to work in the auto body shop around the block or drive their own, you know, limo service, they were good. So me saying I want to be a doctor growing up in that neighborhood, I was a dreamer as far as everybody was concerned. So watching those movies and hearing those themes made me believe that I could dream of things that were not within my grasp at the time. And I aspired to be a doctor. I aspired to do great things from the humble beginnings of my neighborhood. So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah. You know, there's something in the water in Brooklyn because a lot of amazing talent has come out of Brooklyn, New York. I mean, countless people, from entertainers, singers, athletes, actors, Barbara Streisand, Barry Manilow. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I grew up a little bit further east of there, out east on Long Island. On the island, as we say, right?
Right.
But my father, you know, from the city, Astoria, and he has always talked about how when they were kids, the big thing really was to go to those very elegant movie theaters to escape, you know, for those grand films, but also they had air conditioning.
Air conditioning and double features, which you never see that anymore.
Yeah, double features and double headers. We don't see that too much anymore, right?
Yes, exactly. We have 7-inning games and double headers. I don't know what happened there.
And that's it. And nobody can get a hit off the pitchers anymore either. It's like
it's strikeout or home run. It's changed.
So Mets, Dodgers, Yankees. What for you? You're in LA there, so I imagine Dodger territory. But originally, my father, Queens, Astoria, but loves, you know, still loves the Brooklyn Dodgers. And then the Dodgers fans went with the Mets. So we went with Mets. I love the Yankees too. I mean, they're fantastic, but the Mets have always been, you know.
So I'm 100% Mets because, as you said, I grew up in Brooklyn, so all the old timers around the neighborhood, they were Dodger fans. So basically, if you grew up in Brooklyn, you were basically, breastfed to hate the Yankees. So there's no way when the Dodgers left that you were going to become a Yankee fan, because whole generations of people hating the Yankees and all their World Series and all those titles. And if you think about it, in the history of baseball, from 1947 to 1957, the Dodgers won in 55. The Bums won the one time. But there's 10 games. There's 10 games had the Dodgers won, they would have either won the pennant or won the World Series. So they've lost the World Series in the 7th game. They Bobby Thompson, who can't forget that, was old enough. So the Dodgers were always like the hard luck team, and the Mets seem to have inherited that karma, because the Mets were always that team. I used to say the New York Mets are a bunch of homegrown guys that find creative ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, because they always lost in the most incredible ways. Yeah. And if you look at the old footage, the old, 62 Mets and the Casey Stengel Mets, the Mets set records in futility. But then when they won, like in 69, it was a miracle. When they won in 86, it was also a miracle, because you had the Bill Buckner play. So the Mets always kept you on your edge, and they still live and die by the Mets. And there's a great saying about this. It's a great joke or one-liner about the Mets that still applies no matter what year, how many players they have, how much money they spend. And one reporter says, "Hey, by the way, the Mets scored 19 runs today." No kidding. Did they win?
Right. It doesn't matter. Right. It was like 15 innings, and they survived rainstorms and lightning, but still, did they win?
And that's the Mets. So I really and I really like the idea that they always were like the blue collar team, because we used to go
scrappy team,
cages, scrappy team. There was batting cages down in by Bay Parkway, just near Coney Island, and some of the Met players would hang out there and teach the kids how to hit in the batting cages, because most of these guys, they were neighborhood guys that hung around. Like Johnny Franco was a Brooklyn guy. He would come around the neighborhood. It was really like it was like our team.
Yeah,
the Yankees were always like the players that George Steinbrenner bought for millions and millions of dollars from everybody else, and they would flaunt those championships. So it's something about being the underdog that when we win, it's something really special. So I still hang on to that, and maybe it's a motto. The Mets were an underdog, and growing up in Brooklyn where I grew up, I was kind of an underdog. So we're on a similar karmic path.
Yeah, and those Sabrett hot dogs and all. Yeah, beer here and all that, right?
Yeah.
And Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson and
oh my God, those
Bob
jackets.
Murphy and
Murphy and
Kiner's Corner.
Kiner's Corner, yes, there you go.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. Do you miss Shea Stadium? And have you been to Citi Field, the new stadium?
So Shea Stadium, I remember paying $1.50 to get into the bleachers when I was a kid, and Shea was like this windy place that in the spring and fall, like pop-ups could go anywhere. It was like an adventure.
Yes,
but it was our place. These are our Mets, and Citi Field's a beautiful ballpark. But I remember when they first built it, they built it too big, and all of a sudden, all these fly balls became doubles and triples or outs. And I said they built the ballpark and nobody could hit the ball out of it. So finally, I think they got the dimensions right, but it's a beautiful ballpark. And
in the beginning, people were complaining too that it didn't feel like the home to the Mets because it didn't have a lot of Mets in it. And then eventually they started bringing some of the Mets memorabilia and just the feeling, the colors of the Mets back. They're even talking about maybe taking those green seats and making them blue or something. Changing it up a little bit. They tried to bring it very Ebbets Field like, and it is designed on the outside like Ebbets Field and some of the structure, but in doing that, it removed some of the Mets feeling, that Shea feeling. So people wanted more of that. So they've been enhancing that, which I think is cool.
But you got to remember when they designed Shea Stadium, it was really designed for the desert, like Arizona, because it had a wind tunnel built into it. Which in the spring in New York, or I was a Jet fan too, so I sat there in the days of the Jets playing in Shea, and it is not a good place to watch football in the wintertime. And there's a field goal kicker for the Jets, Pat Leahy. I got to meet his cousin, worked with him on a movie just recently. Pat Leahy kicked field goals where he used to kick left and watch the wind blow it like 20 yards across right between the uprights. it's something about that place, you know, and then with the planes flying overhead.
The planes over LaGuardia.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And you have to wait between planes to throw a pitch, or some of the pitches would throw during the plane, so the batter would have to ignore the plane and focus on it. It was quite an interesting place.
Yeah. Good memories, good memories. What are the good memories you have of growing up in New York that have shaped you into who you are now? Obviously, you have not lost your sense of roots and familial, traditions and things of that nature, because growing up in the city there, that gave you the start of who, Rico was going to become. So what are some other great memories that you still take with you from the old neighborhood and just from your experiences back east?
Well, it's funny because, when you're growing up and you experience what other people call hard times, and while you're going through them, those are actually things that define you. You really are defined by your losses. You're defined by your mistakes, or the things the misfortunes, because how you adapt and overcome and push through, that's what really makes you. So then we were poor. I mean, we were poor because my dad, had a gambling problem. He was a very charismatic guy.
Yeah.
Probably a exasperatingly charismatic guy, because no matter how angry my mom tried to get at him, he'd look at her with those blue eyes, and she'd give in and melt. And some memories of my childhood was my dad always playing cards at this place like 3 blocks from my house, where all these Italian guys hung out. We played poker. And I would go, my mom would say, hey, go grab your father, tell him it's time for the Sunday gravy, the macaroni, right? And my father would be playing poker with a bunch of guys. We're talking about, guys with no necks and pinky rings, guys you probably would read about in the Daily News, those kind of guys. He says wearing a pinky ring. But anyway, and my father would sit there and go, hey, Pop,
same here. And my dad gave it to me.
There you go. You got it. So my
and it sticks out when you have a cup of something or drink something. It has to stick out.
You got to do it the right way, exactly. So I go say, hey, Dad, Ma's got the macaroni. She threw the pasta in, which means you got 15 minutes for the pasta to cook. If I goes, sit down and learn something, and he's playing poker, and he's watching me, while he's drawing in on 2 pair, or trying to bet, check somebody or race somebody, or he's watching football and he's saying, who do you like in this game? Or he's reading the racing form. So I used to, much to my mother's chagrin, I would hang out with my dad. He would teach me about gambling, about sports, but that was the way we bonded. In fact, I used to keep statistics in my marble composition books. So I went to school. One book was for school, and one book was to track, the Mets pitching staff and how they do against lefties, and which pitchers do well in Fenway Park, or which pitchers do well in Wrigley Field. Because my father would ask me, hey, the Mets are playing, the Dodgers, and what do you think? And for me, I was a Met fan. I could never pick against the Mets.
Right. And
there were so many games where where let's say Tom Seaver would pitch, and Tom Seaver was like a god. And my father would bet against Seaver, not because he didn't like Seaver, because if you bet against Seaver, you won more money if Seaver lost.
Right.
So I sit there and he goes, well, I bet against Seaver because we're getting 2-1. And I sit there and go, but that's Tom Seaver. And I watched the game like conflicted, because I knew we need the money to pay the rent, but I didn't want Tom Seaver to lose or the Mets to lose. So I remember that. I remember sneaking out of the house and playing stickball with the kids from the neighborhood. And I don't think anyone knows what stickball is anymore.
Did you ever shoot dice? My father used to shoot dice in the streets, in the corner.
You shoot dice. You pitch quarters. You play stoop ball.
Police Athletic League, PAL, all of that, right?
All that stuff, and then. I had to work at an early age, so I went to high school in Manhattan. I went to Xavier High School. I take the subway. But my first job to put myself through high school, I worked making pizzas in downtown Brooklyn. So I was 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Go to school till 4, get off the subway, making pizzas till midnight. I'd be sweating, covered with sauce and flour, and that was my way to help pay for my tuition. I also helped my mom out in times when my dad was doing lean. Yeah. So I went from that to working in restaurants. And, it's like just hanging out with a bunch of guys going to the racetrack after work, or hanging out with other waiters and rooting for a team. Or
you were learning about life. Learning about life. Yeah.
Exactly.
How to deal with people, all the different personalities, survival, resilience.
Correct.
Right.
And that's what it is. I mean, the guy, like I said, my father's crew was, like I said, a very colorful, interesting crew. I hung around people like that. So so later on when I went to work in medicine, it's funny because I was just telling someone earlier today, I did my residency at Bellevue Hospital, which is, the biggest New York City health and hospital corporation. And it's a huge, busy hospital with busy ER and people coming in and out. And as an intern, you could be overwhelmed. You have to see 20, 30, 40 patients a day. But I said, wait a second, it's like working Mother's Day in a tiny restaurant in Brooklyn. You got, 20 tables that coming in and out. The same way of thinking on your feet and staying coordinated.
Yeah, got to get it done. Yeah.
You get it done. You prioritize. And I became pretty legendary. I found out later on among the house staff and then the interns that I trained, because I was very good at being systematic and getting everything done fast and prioritizing, and making sure, okay, it's like triage. Okay, this guy's sick. This guy's just trying to stay in the hospital, but he can't, there's no place to live. This person's having a heart attack, and you learn on your feet. So it was a really real New York experience,
Yeah. Were there others in the family that were in the medical field, or were you the one who decided to go into it?
I mean, there's 50 cousins in my family. I was the first one to become a doctor. My mom was one of 9. So, like I said, it was somebody pursuing something that really no one else had pursued. And there's really nobody else to talk to. Hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? I had to figure it out on my own. And also, as far as like the other kids in class, most of the other kids in class, they really that's what they were about. When I went to my high school, it was a Jesuit high school. That was the place where I kind of got some guidance, because it's a college preparatory school, and that's actually where, interestingly enough, I got more into theater, because all the Jesuits that taught us at Xavier, they said, it doesn't matter if you want to be a doctor when you grow up. You still should learn Latin. You still should study Italian. You should study the classics. You should read the Shakespeare. You should read Ibsen. You should read Chekhov, because this is all about culture and the humanities. You can't just be a doctor that can't discuss the humanities. So so I was in the advanced placement English, where we read Shakespeare the first year, and then we read also all the romantics, and all the Byrons and the Shelleys, and then we started reading plays. We read Chekhov, Ibsen. Then we read the Edward Albee. Then we read the American playwrights. And so I got this crash course in American literature and English literature. And in fact, reading plays, was better than watching TV, because the world of the play was this world that was, my imagination and watching how these characters come to life on the page. Yeah. So I was hooked with the art of writing and the art of telling a story through theater and through plays, and it was great that they actually encouraged that. They said, it doesn't matter you want to do science, you want to do medicine, you have to know the humanities, because really being a doctor is being a humanist, understanding the human condition and what drives us. And if you look at Anton Chekhov, he was a physician as well as a playwright and actor. And Somerset Maugham, same thing. So here I found these examples of people who were brilliant writers who also were physicians, and Arthur Conan Doyle. I mean, Sherlock Holmes is basically a physician in detective clothing, because the way he did deductive reasoning in Elementary Watson was basically how a physician does differential diagnosis and tries to hone in what's wrong with the patient, the usual suspects. So I really had a great appreciation for that, and also was learning about something that was, more than the neighborhood kid in Brooklyn gets to do, right? So, and I got to go to theater in New York. I got to see, Pacino on stage. I got to see all these. It was just the work, how you could create magic out of just words and space and the theater. Was compelling to me.
So, with this background developing in medicine, when did the acting bug actually bite you? You hear early on, you're appreciating the way things are put together and the theatrics of it all, and the production and the presentation and the acting, abilities of those that you're admiring on the screen and on stages. When was it that you said, I not only want to appreciate that as a consumer of that, I want in on that. I want to participate and express who Rico is through that medium. When did you decide to get your feet wet in the acting and performance world, Rico?
Well, it took a while. I mean, the first thing developed was my writing. I used to write these short stories. I got a short story published in college. I wrote like a one-act play because I always thought I wasn't good enough to be on stage, or who'd want to watch me on stage. I was actually pretty shy. I was like growing up, I was kind of overweight, glasses, braces, the nerdy kid. And I never really saw myself as being anyone stage worthy. So I didn't really. So I was kind of like in the corner. And then it's funny because I was out in San Francisco at UCSF. I was doing training at UCSF Medical School, part of my education. And I say, you know what? I want to take an intro to acting class because I really want to explore this because I'm out here, and it's been something on my mind. So I went to the academy, and I took an intro to acting. And basically, it's you audition. And if you have to pass the class to get to the next class, right? So they kept asking me back. Then I took improv classes, and they kept asking me back. And so I kind of developed confidence to stand on my feet and actually do dialogue and do theater. But then when I came to LA, that's really when things kind of, there was a stop in Michigan where I did improv, which is kind of fun. But in LA, my patients pulled me into show business. I mean, I came to LA to be a cardiologist. I came here to work at Cedars-Sinai. They had recruited me, but I had come out here, and I remember flying out here for the interview. I had to make a connection flight from New York, and it was snowing. So making this connection, and it's snowing, and I remember the lady saying, "Don't worry, don't have to run. The other plane's going to wait because the weather's bad." So I remember like still running because I'm like, who knows. And I go up to the booth, and there's a guy sitting there. Goes, "So the flight to LA, is it here yet?" It goes, "Left on time 20 minutes ago." And I'm like, I go, "What are you smiling at? They just told me you guys were waiting." Go, "Well, we were ready 20 minutes ago." And I go, "Will you stop saying that? Like, I need to get to LA." And so I gave the guy a piece of my mind. And standing behind me is this tall, silver-haired guy. He's watching me. I think, okay, the guy's watching me, whatever. So then I got to wait for the next plane. There's a plane 2 hours later and I have to get to LA. I got my interview. And the guy says to me, "I notice you're giving that guy a hard time. You're a pretty dramatic, colorful kind of guy. Are you an actor?" I said, "No, I'm going to the interview for a hospital. I'm a cardiologist." He said, "Well, but you should try acting." I said, "Well, that's." So we started talking, and it turns out he's a producer. His wife was an author. And when I came to LA, they approached me, and I got the job. They put me in a play. And wow. So I did a play. And after the play, other people saw me perform, and people came up and gave me more things to do, put me in other plays. And eventually I started doing, theater, and I started doing bit parts in movies. And my patients who came to me would say, "Hey, you got a good look. Here, read this for me." And so I started getting work based on my patients. And one of my patients ran an acting school in Santa Monica, Meisner School, Joanne Barron, and she said, "You have to come to my school because if you're going to go up on stage, you got to know what you're doing." And so she invited me, and I took her class. I took her whole 2-year Meisner class, and she actually accommodated to my schedule. It goes, "Whatever time you can make it. If you got to come at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just come on down." And so I found these people who were fans of my work and my journey,
right.
and Eric and Eliza Roberts are also fans. Like, they met me,
and they're watching tonight. We welcome them,
and they're watching. Hello out to them. I became the family doctor for Eric, Eliza, for Eliza's mom, Lila, who was probably one of my top 5 favorite human beings on the planet. She was an amazing force of nature, who basically would look at people with laser precision and know exactly what to say. And it's interesting because they always say that when you're on stage as an actor, you have to have the same precision that a surgeon has in the OR. And that's kind of the way Lila was through life. She had a surgeon's precision when she talked to people and addressed people, and when she was talking about her politics and being on the air. And it's kind of inspiring, and she was very a fan of mine. So having people like that supporting me, and pushing me along, that was great. That was great. That was very, very instrumental in me taking bigger steps and bigger leaps, and leading me to a point where people from the acting studio invited me, and I became involved in in reading plays, and I got involved in a play called Frank and Ava that was started out as a play, developed at the Actors Studio, that the writer Willard Manis met me only because his previous play, which is called Berlin Cowboys, about the how the Soviets outflanked the CIA and built the Berlin Wall overnight.
Mm-hmm.
The lead of his play had to speak Greek and Russian, and I guess he dropped out, or they had a problem. And he said to one of my patients at the Actors Studio, said, this lead's leaving and he wants to go, but how can I replace him? I mean, he says, why don't you use my doctor? He goes, what do you mean your doctor? He goes, yeah, he's an actor too. He goes, can he learn the part in 3 weeks? Sure, he can. So I did this play where I had to speak Greek and Russian and be Costas, this very Greek spy, you know. And so Willard Manis was grateful to me. And then after that play was over, he goes, listen, I'm writing something about Frank Sinatra, and I want you to do this. This is perfect for you. And so he handed me the play, Frank and Ava. And that became a two-hander. We put it up in Hollywood. We ran it for about 6 months. And it got great acclaims, great reviews, and people really loved the story. And that's kind of how this movie started, because it was
unbelievable.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, it was patience for you that led to all of this, because you say, you know, you went out to California because of your patience, and then the lack of patience at the airport that the guy noticed and loved the dramatic theatrics you were doing. So these patience and the lack of patience got you where you are. It's amazing.
I think everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. That's right.
I mean, I'm a cardiologist, you know, probably thanks to my dad. I mean, it's because when I was growing up, I thought, okay, I'll be a doctor, and I thought about being an orthopedic because I was around sports by watching it, all the bet on it. But I was never really the athletic type. So, you know, most orthopedic surgeons are either frustrated jocks or jock wannabes or part-time jocks, because they hang around jocks because they fix them when they break down. But then when I was in med school, my dad had his first of many heart attacks, and I wound up saving his life. I wound up running to the ER that he was in, and the ER physician was hesitant to give him a drug that would open up the artery in his heart. He was waiting to transfer him to another hospital that could do an angioplasty. And I remember showing up there after my father left me a message. Hey, I'm going to the hospital here. I'm having chest pains. And I'm going. So I went to this little hospital in Brooklyn. I won't say which one it is.
Yeah,
they're probably better now. Back then, not so good. And and the ER doctor was. I said, hey, my father's here with chest pain. It's been here. It took me 45 minutes to get here, and he's still here with pain, and nothing's happening. And the guy says, well, I'm planning on transferring him. I go, transferring him? He's having chest pain. And
this is it now. Yeah. Now or never.
Correct. And when you're having a heart attack, time is muscle. And I tell people that when you have chest pain, you run to the hospital, take it, chew, 4 baby aspirins and run to the hospital.
You can't fool with strokes either. Yeah,
exactly. You can't fool it. So this guy was like hesitant. So I basically, turned Brooklyn on and said, listen, if you don't do something now for my father, there's a couple of guys he can call, and you're going to wish, you may not have your fingers at the end of the day. So the guy like
suddenly action started happening.
Action happened. He produced there was a clot dissolving drug. He was hesitant to get. He produced that drug. The nurse ran it in. The EKG got better, and they saved his life. And I took him. And basically when he got out, they transferred him to my hospital when I was in med school. And that's when I realized at that moment, I said, listen, I have to be a cardiologist. I have to be a guy that saves guys like my dad, who was sitting in the ER somewhere with some not so clever guy doesn't know what to do. So I wanted to be that guy to help people like my dad. So that's why my career in cardiology. And I spent probably the next 20 years keeping my dad alive through 3 heart attacks, a stroke, an aneurysm, lung cancer.
Now, with that, do you have to watch yourself as well, like family history, things of that nature?
Great question. Yeah, you do have to watch yourself. So I have watched myself, and I have myself looked at, and fortunately, I think I took after on my mother's side, because I have no plaque, no calcium, no premature atherosclerosis. And one thing my dad did that I never did, my dad smoked 5 packs of cigarettes a day, because that's what they did when they hung around Brooklyn.
Back
playing cards
then,
all
they
day.
didn't realize, right? It was part
Yeah,
of, it was just part, it was like having a lollipop or gum. It was just part of
exactly.
the scene and relax them. And right, whole
Yeah,
generation that
the
smoked.
culture. I mean, if you look at when I was researching the Sinatra movie, I found these ads, and in fact, there's a scene in the movie, no spoiler, where Sinatra's doctor is smoking while he's examining him because
Yeah,
doctors smoked. And there was an ad that says doctors who
yeah,
smoke Camels for crispy natural tobacco, which is kind of funny how back then they would tell people it's a good thing to smoke clean tobacco. The way I
yeah.
guess now they
And then
tell
the
people it's
filter with the
the
minty
filter
flavor.
with the minty flavor. And nowadays, the latest one is vaping is the latest fallacy.
Yeah,
But then, even before that, American spirits, they're perfect, they're natural, they're clean. No, they're cigarettes, they're bad.
yeah.
Vaping, it's
And
bad.
sugar too.
And sugar,
Sugar, fat became the culprit and then sugar slipped in.
yeah,
And now they realize the connection between heart disease and diabetes
yeah,
and carbohydrates and all these things, huh?
yeah. That's right. There's my there's my rule of 25s. I tell people so no more than 25 grams of sugar a day, no more than 2.5 grams of sodium a day. And no more than 25% of your calories should be fat. So just remember 2 5s and you'll be okay.
How about cholesterol?
Well, cholesterol, you want to avoid, you want to avoid processed, you want to avoid, meats, you want to avoid
Yeah,
red meats, you want to avoid trans fats.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. Cheeses and
cheeses,
yeah.
dairy, I want to keep a limit on it.
So
Exactly.
how do you do that as the boy who made the pizzas in Brooklyn with all that sauce and cheese and carb and
There you go. There you go. Well, you have to, you have to tell yourself, everything in moderation, right? So you have to tell yourself, well, you don't have to have pizza
yeah,
every day. You have pasta,
right,
once
yeah,
every week, and you have to,
right,
and you could, and there's smart ways to cook.
right,
I think
yeah,
there's a lot of great vegetable dishes, Italians.
yeah.
There's a lot of great healthy options, and you have to exercise.
What have you learned, about yourself or maybe just life in general in dealing with the pandemic and COVID and that situation the last 13, 14 months? It has been life-changing for really all of us. We've taken a moment to look at our lives and look at our next chapters and
Yeah.
some of the things that we do and don't want to do anymore. What has Dr. Rico examined, pun intended, about himself over this time? And what was some of those, continue to be some of those teachable moments for you?
Well, in addition to being someone who treated many patients with COVID, I happen to be a COVID survivor. I had double pneumonia from COVID back in December, and I was hospitalized and went through 105 fevers for 7 8 days straight. Went through having trouble breathing, and actually also went through the whole process of going from being a doctor to patient, and experiencing, being a patient who was pretty sick, and watching, what happens, and there's a couple of things you see is this whole pandemic. um it, I'm kind of disappointed to say that it really, we had a lot of bad news out there, a lot of bad information. We had a lot of things that were not really fully proven and really borne out that were being reported. I call it the USA Today medicine, where somebody reads something, or gets something that's kind of hearsay, or anecdotal, and goes to the press. So suddenly people are depending, are trusting their care to something that's not really proven by a clinical trial with good data. And the sad part is, there should be some kind of fail-safe at what level that kind of information gets to. And we had bad information coming from the highest levels, the top levels, and that was the most disappointing thing, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of science out there. There was a lot of conjecture, a lot of doctors on YouTube saying things that weren't exactly accurate, but were marketable, and a lot of people having using the pandemic as a podium to go out and preach about things, and we've learned a lot. We've learned
and made it difficult for people like you who are trying to treat people and get through this and keep
yeah,
people healthy, right?
that's exactly right. I mean, keeping people informed, keeping people healthy. I mean, it's sad because you read historically. Okay, the Spanish flu of 1918, it killed almost 25% of the planet, a quarter of the planet.
Yeah.
We say, well, back then, what did they have? But guess what? I mean, we didn't really do that much better this time. I mean, we let this thing spread around the world. We let this thing spread through our country. We didn't really take the right precautions, and we really
said it doesn't even really exist too.
There you go, and then also we used a virus, a sickness, an illness to polarize people. It became a political virus. What was I mean, this is something that attacks all people, and in fact, what's really sad about it is that in addition to what I do, I also work with Sean Penn and CORE. Initially, we're trying to get testing for people all around America.
That's a great organization. Chief Medical Officer for CORE, right?
Yeah.
Community Organized Relief Effort.
There you go, and also trying to get vaccines. And we see that this pandemic, this virus, also segregated people because not everybody had the same access to care. So basically, you had people not getting access to testing, not getting access to vaccines.
Yeah.
And it seems to be the people that weren't getting access were the people that actually were the highest or high risk.
High risk,
and I think that's an unfortunate thing that you had cities opening up, saying it's okay. Meanwhile, if you go just north of some of these cities, like Atlanta, and you go to like some of the suburbs where there's mostly African Americans and no one's even testing in those areas. Like how can you sit there and ignore people and not test and say, oh, COVID's over. Let's open up our cities again. Yeah. I mean, it's basically there was I mean, in the name of independent sovereignty or civil liberties, people basically ignored and put millions of people at risk during this pandemic, and it's really unconscionable some of the things we saw. I mean, I have a brother-in-law is in Brooklyn. He's a nurse. I mean, he had to wear the same gowns days in a row.
It was unbelievable. Yeah.
I mean, we got caught flat-footed in so many aspects, and it's hard to imagine that we're supposed to be, one of the leading richest countries in the world, that we couldn't handle this. We couldn't solve this.
What was really sad and scary is when they showed those images of, I forget the name of that island where they bury people who have no family and no identity, no identification, and they just put them in the box and put them in the dirt. It's an island off the city, off New York.
Yeah. Potter's Field, they called it.
Potter's Field, and all predominantly were COVID related, and just so you're for vaccination and
Yeah, you have to be vaccinated. Yeah, I mean, the vaccine's not perfect. We know that, but we know if you pull back the lens, it's helping more people than not. Obviously, there has to be more perfection of the vaccine. There has to be more work. Yeah. And what's sad is that I mean, I've done lots of other work in medicine, including I've worked at experts in major litigations against big pharma when they've released drugs that weren't so safe. The sad thing is how much commerce and profit drives a lot of science and a lot of research, and there's a lot of that's where a lot of the bad information comes from, and maybe I just saw a report of a potential CEO of a vaccine company possibly misleading the investors or misleading the press that their vaccine was on the verge of getting approval, just to drive the stock up. I mean, this is there has to be accountability here.
That temptation is there.
Yeah. And it's really we've really seen. I mean, it's disappointing that you think that as a country, or even as a species, that we may have evolved and maybe come together.
Right.
Yet we see that there's still differences that keep us apart.
Right.
And sadly, those same differences exist now that existed 100 years ago. and that's really disappointing, because I thought, you would like to think that. I remember there was I forget what I was a Trekkie growing up too. There's a line from one of the Star Treks where it said, "You humans are an interesting species. You're at your best when things are worst."
Yeah.
I wish there was more of that. I wish there was more of
Yes.
us rallying and showing our better sides. Because we have it. It's in there, except we have to break through all this other stuff.
It's like the Twilight Zone episodes where the neighbors are all turning against each other, thinking one is a Martian. No, you're the Martian. No, your kid's the Martian. And everybody, they were friends at a dinner party, and then all of a sudden they hear a weird sound in the sky, and then now they're all attacking each other. I said, in a great conversation, we're going to slide into your incredible epic acting background too, but for those that are watching, and we welcome everybody watching the Jim Masters Show live, and Dr. Rico is here with us, and great conversation. But I said that I think what happened a year ago plus was three big energies came together. The divine, the earth, and Mother Nature. And they said, you know what? These humans are screwing this place up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to give them a pandemic, economic shutdown. We're going to do civil unrest and political craziness. We're going to do it all at the same time in the beginning of a new decade, which is usually hopeful. So it'll surprise them. And let's see if they come together, they unify, if there's more empathy, compassion, if they roll up their sleeves and work through this, or are they going to tear each other apart like some of those Twilight Zone episodes? And we've seen a lot of rough stuff where people have pushed and shoved and knocked people down in stores and road rage and all this acting out. And then at the same time, we've also seen some beautiful things that people have done, delivering food and helping and rallying to get vaccines out, and calling on people to check in to see how they're doing. It's been a real dichotomy of, it's almost as if these things that have happened with the energies of the divine, the earth, and Mother Nature coming together, because they're bigger than us and they really run the ship, not us. We think we do. So when they threw all this at us, it wasn't going to affect the animals or the trees or the sun. It was going to affect the humans, because they were fed up with the way we were going as a society around the world, and all this hatred and violence and division. So they threw all this at us to see how we work through it. And we've seen the worst of the worst. We've seen some of the best of the best. It's just really amazing that it's taken all of this to happen, where masks have come down off people's faces. We've actually seen phenomenal people, and then you've seen a lot of ugliness as well. It's really created an interesting dichotomy, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's too bad that that we have to first experience the tyranny of some before we experience the magnanimity of others, and be able to overcome that. And like I said, it kind of shows that maybe humans aren't as evolved as we think we are.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. You've had this illustrious career as an actor too. How have you balanced both worlds, Dr. Rico?
It's sometimes not easy. It's funny. Like Chekhov used to say that medicine was his wife and the theater was his mistress. Lest they find out about one another. So my acting career out here has been, I'd say, for the large part, a lot of theater, and then these occasional movies. So yeah. It's kind of worked out. There actually were a couple of times where I turned down big acting opportunities because it would take me away from my practice.
Yeah, sure.
I won't go into which one specifically, but there are a couple that that at the time I said, well, but it's, for the most part, it's I'm either doing one or the other. I'm either creating or being a physician or teaching. That's become my full time. I guess one of the side effects is, if I were married with kids, I'd have a wife saying, no, you're going to soccer practice. You're not going to do theater right now.
Right.
You're taking your son to soccer practice, but that I don't have that right now. But But like I said, there's gives and takes, and a lot of people have been accommodating. And then when it came to doing Sinatra, I set that schedule. We did that on weekends. We did that 15 weekends over 2 years because that fit my schedule. So that's kind of how that came about. So yeah, and the thing is, one feeds the other, because I could tell you, on sets of movies, I meet people who become patients. I remember during this Sinatra production, I had a phone call from one person. He called me at 3 a.m. with chest pain. He said, it's very funny. When I took the job, I said, I thought to myself, what a strange thing that the producer and writer and lead actor is a cardiologist. But then I woke up at 3 a.m. with chest pain. I knew exactly who to call. And he came in, and we put a stent, and we saved him. So it's brought me into people's lives in a different way. And I got to spread the word. And even in theater, like having a 5-minute conversation with somebody after a show, they want to talk to me about the role I just did. And they say, hey, I heard you're a cardiologist. What should I do about my heart? What should I do with my cholesterol? And I said, well, get your cholesterol checked. Go get a coronary calcium score, and talk to your doctor about it. Boy, if you want to see me, here's my card. And people say, oh my goodness, I went to get my score, and I have all this plaque, and I have really high cholesterol, and I had no idea. And thank you for bringing it up. And sometimes it's just something like that, just something as simple as making people aware, giving them the knowledge that empowers them to take charge of their health and really be responsible for their health. So it's been, they've kind of, one has fed the other. And then there's some strange moments, because I remember I did a play once about Murder Incorporated, and my patient cast me as the lead, this guy named Smiley Manone, who was named after Happy Mayoni, who was a real Murder Incorporated guy from Brownsville, Brooklyn, back in the 30s. So there's a scene where at the end of the first act, where I kill a guy in a barber chair. So this kid comes in. He's a union guy. He's been raising a lot of trouble. We gave him a couple of warnings. He's still raising a bunch of trouble at the docks. So this guy's engagement ring. He's going to ask his girl to marry him that night. He's in the chair. He's got the towel on his face. And he's talking to the barber about how he's going to go propose to his girlfriend. And I walk in, and I kind of wave the barber aside, and I pick up the razor and the strop and keep stropping without missing a beat. And the kid's still talking, and he thinks his father's still there, and I'm stropping. Then the lights go dim, the strobes happen, you hear the elevated train overhead, and then I just say, Anastasia sends his regards, and I slice his throat. Now, no blood, no effects, just the thing of the light going down, and me saying that, and the guy gurgled. Yeah. So we did, I think, 85, 87 performances. 7 times people fainted at that moment. At that point. Because they thought they saw blood. And then I'm backstage between acts, getting ready for the second act. Hey, Rico, you got to come up. Somebody fainted. And I come up, like with a
Is there a doctor in the house? Yeah.
And I was the doctor in the house. And I go, excuse me, you're all right? He goes, yeah, wait, you're the guy. You cut his throat. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I said, it was a play. That was
a play. We were acting.
I'm like, so would you actors. So would you like? So I check the blood pressure, the heart. I go, would you like to call an ambulance? He goes, no, I want to see the second act. I'm like, well, let's get you a glass of water. Let's raise your legs.
First things first.
Yeah. So a couple of times there's been those moments where I was the doctor in the house, and I break the fourth wall to do something. Yeah.
That is cool. So. You talked about theater. You were involved with the incredible production of Glengarry Glen Ross too, right?
I played Ricky Roma. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I used language that was surprise.
That was in the play?
That was in the play, yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
was there any thought of the film as well, being a part of the film?
No, the film. Well, the film was done with Al Pacino and Alan Baldwin. That was
Jack Lemmon and Kevin Spacey. And, what a group! Alan Arkin.
Exactly. Alan Arkin, one of my favorites. Still one of my favorites.
Yeah. And Jack Lemmon, of course. Yeah. So you play Roma. That's a good role. It's
a fun role. It's a fun role. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I want to, we actually have some clips here is leading into sharing some of the theatrical clips. Now, this is you. The clip says Berlin.
Oh, wow. That's Berlin. That's the play where I'm the Greek spy trying to uncover who the double agent is who's going to put the Berlin Wall up. Yeah, it's called Berlin Cowboys. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that one and see Rico in action on stage. Here we go.
What's the matter? You look like hell.
Have you heard anything about the wall going up in Berlin?
A wall? No, nothing.
You're not lying to me about this, are you?
Why should I lie to you?
It's just that lately you haven't given me anything of use from college.
Well, the KGB watch their tongues. They're not stupid, you know.
I know. Very well. Nothing. About the wall. About Sasha?
Sorry, his name has never been mentioned. Oh. They've been putting pressure on you, haven't they? My poor little Shotzi. You take too much of the world on your shoulders.
You know me too well.
Not really. We all hide the most important parts of ourselves. Come on. Let's go downstairs. I'll give you a nice long massage.
I miss you. The smell of your hair.
I had it styled today for you. Do you like it this way?
Do the Russians speak the style?
Oh, silly boy. The Russians don't tell me what to do.
Don't they?
God, you're in a foul mood. Do you want me to leave?
No. I want you to stay.
Well, all right then.
Did you get disgusted?
With what?
Playing these games within games?
Games.
Games of deceit, betrayal,
Right.
make-believe.
You're the expert at that. You do it for a living.
So to you, it's a style too, you know.
No. I am a whore. Pure and simple.
Nothing is pure. Nothing is simple. Especially in Berlin. It is a hall of mirrors where nothing is as it appears to be.
Including us.
Especially us. My dear, beautiful mistress of the pleasure dome. My cowhorse mole, who never seems to see or hear anything of importance.
Come on now, don't do this.
Fucking bitch! Playing the Russians, didn't you?
No, I swear it!
All always lies, what you're paid to do!
Not for you, Costa! I've been straight with you ever since you had my kid. I am falling for you, you son of a bitch, huh?
You're putting on such a show, huh?
No.
Why not sing another torch song?
No, Costa, I've been straight with you, huh? Oh, I'm in love with you, goddammit.
Oh, you're good. You're very good. Such an actress. You almost had me believing you.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a slap.
That's a slap.
That is a slap. Cool. So that was fun working on that, huh?
Yeah. That play would make a great movie if somebody had maybe $100 million. It's a story of how ego got the American government in the position where we were outfoxed by the Soviets, who were basically bringing millions of pounds of rebar and concrete into Berlin, and leaking out to the American sources that they were just rebuilding the bombed out city, and there was a double agent leaking the information across. So in one night they put the wall up, and the CIA had egg all over their face. And and this is, I guess that was the crux moment of the play where he suspects he's being fed bad information by her.
Yeah, very, very cool. You know who's here? A great friend and one of our guests that was on just a few weeks back. Jenna Robbins is here. She goes, "Hi, Jim and Rico. As an actor producer myself, the only thing I wanted to be was a nurse, because at the time I thought women couldn't be doctors. And back then that was really the mindset, huh? Unfortunately, that's changing now."
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that our chiefs of cardiology and cardiac surgery at Cedars-Sinai are both women, outstanding leaders of their field. So we've come a long way, and thank goodness.
Absolutely. You know what you are? You're one of the few good men too, which leads me to the smooth segue, a Jim Master segue of the clip we have from A Few Good Men. Tell us about that one.
Oh, wow! This is the stage play, and
is that a smooth segue?
That's a great segue. I tell you, when I was first taking acting classes, doing Sorkin was always that holy grail, because Sorkin writes for a lot of dialogue, a lot of clever dialogue, intelligent dialogue, but it has to be delivered, believable. It has to be, and to me, doing Sorkin was always that holy grail. And so finally, I remember, after studying for a few years, being cast as the lead in A Few Good Men, it was like, wow, this is like that bucket list of roles you always want to do. So I got to play Kathy, and this is I think this is the crux scene in the play that's kind of in the movie, where Kathy has to figure out whether to back down or go after Jessup. This is after he got embarrassed on the stand. So it's yeah.
When was that? When were you doing that one?
God, this had to be like 10 years ago, easily.
Yeah. You love the theater. You love the stage as much. Film, television, everything else. But is the theater, what does that come to you first in your heart?
It does, because I tell you, well, one, because there's more of it. I mean, I've been lucky to be cast as leads in several plays, like like A Few Good Men, and original plays like Berlin Cowboys and Frank and Ava.
Right.
And when you're doing a play, I mean, it's literally flying without a net. I mean, it's like from the opening curtain to the close. There is no cut, try it again. No, you're out there, you're doing it. And so to me, that's really that's the real measure of the craft, is how you do on the boards, how you do on stage. And in film, you don't get, unless you're the lead, you don't really get a chance to have that exploration of character and showing an arc, and showing how you change, and showing how you're changed by what's happening. And it's a different medium too, because on stage you could be you could have pages of dialogue or monologues where you're going through these changes, and the audience is there with you. In film, some films write that way, but most films don't. You don't really get to see the actors speaking for that long, just because of how they write now, and also they're writing for the audience's attention, and they figure no one wants to watch long speeches in film. But it's like I said, it's a different medium. I mean, as you go further and further in film, when you get to play big roles, where you actually get to have many colors to your character, many dimensions, then it becomes more fun. But in the beginning, I was getting the lead in plays, and as opposed to the little supporting characters in movies. So I love the stage. Like I said, it was a great way to explore, have fun, and be somebody maybe not exactly like you.
Exactly right. You get to explore different aspects of your personality that rise to the occasion that you might not have even realized were there. But that role, that character pushes you and brings it out, which is cool stuff. Here is Rico, Dr. Rico, in A Few Good Men.
Stop cleaning up. Sam, stop cleaning up. Think it would have made a difference if we found Markinson?
No, I don't. Who knows what Markinson knew? Maybe he's just a coward with a conscience.
Want a drink?
Yeah.
Your father proud of you?
Don't do this to yourself. Is he?
Very proud of you.
Sure.
Bet your father makes people sick talking about you. Friends, neighbors, people he works with. Sam made a lot of you. Sam's got a big case. He's making an argument. I think my father would enjoy seeing me graduate from law school. I think he would have liked that. An awful lot. Very angry about that, Sam.
I know you
I gotta call Ross. Said I call him home by midnight.
are. If you give me his number, I'll call him.
In my book. In the briefcase.
Ah, shit!
What?
Cut myself with a damn security tag.
Forgot to take it off.
If you give me his number, Danny, I'll call him. Danny.
Calls me.
What?
He calls me.
I can't hear you.
He calls me!
Yeah. Call Ross.
Call him. Tell him thanks for no deal. Tell him requesting a 25 continuous to subpoena criminal justice.
What?
I've been going after the wrong
What are
guy.
you talking about?
Remember our flight way back in Cuba?
It's around 6.
Remember the flight code?
Why would I remember that? Huh?
AF-40 doesn't have windows, but it flies.
Yeah, I remember. So?
Remember the wrong book they sent Joe? The tower she saw from Andrews? The one that galled her?
AF-40 MAM.
MAM. Matthew Wade Markinson. Coward with a conscience. Why it took me 5 weeks to figure this out is beyond me. Hey, they give him time? I forgot a way to blame you. Come on. You gotta prep me for Jessup, and I need Joe to write the motion for continuance.
Look. Wait, let's just sit down with Ross. If Jessup tampered with evidence, we might be able to get a new deal.
I don't want Jessup on evidence tampering. I want him to say you ordered the code red. Let's go.
You still need a witness.
I have a
A
witness.
dead witness.
In the hands of a lesser attorney, that would be a problem.
You're gonna trip Jessup.
I'm not gonna trip him. I'm gonna lead him right where he's dying to go.
I don't think you can do it.
I know you don't. Let's go.
Doesn't that mean something to you?
It's a great deal. Well, let me ask you this. What if I'm twice as good as you think I am? What if I'm not some half-ass clown, five-better cat at used car salesman?
You still need a window. He has no weakness. He won't let you near him.
He has a weakness.
What?
He thinks he was right. Let's go.
Look, you shoot at Jessup in this, Randolph will cite you. Listen to me! Randolph will cite you for contempt. And if they decide to teach you a lesson, they'll slap you with a dishonorable discharge. And that'll be stapled to every job application you ever fill out.
Life's like that sometimes. Let's go.
You're that sure?
Yes!
He's gonna confess.
Yes! You know why?
No.
Because he has honor, and he has code. And I'm twice as good as you think I am. Let's go.
I love when I can see the guests watching themselves and watching some of their work when we look at photos and video and film clips and things. It's kind of cool, huh? Brings you back a little bit.
Yeah. Wow.
Among other things.
Yeah,
that was a great opportunity there, huh?
Yeah, that was a great play, and sadly, Sherry Kuhn, who directed it, is no longer with us. She succumbed to breast cancer, but that was a great group of people that really enjoyed working together, and I think some of the bonds we made during the run of that show, people we connected with still stay in touch with today.
Which is a beautiful residual of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the residual effect of that work. Really cool stuff. We also have 2 clips. First is Heaven Can Wait.
Oh, no. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow.
You got to take a swig on that one, huh?
You dug that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's.
Yeah. We're professionals here. We do our research.
You really did. Jeez. You dug a few holes to find that one. No, but that actually was the first lead role in a play I did in L.A. and it was it's actually so. The original movie was Here Comes Mr. Jordan with Robert Montgomery and Claude Rains. But people know Heaven Can Wait, which is the one that Warren Beatty did, where it's about a guy named Joe Pendleton. And Beatty's movie is a football player, quarterback that gets plucked from his body before his time.
Right.
But in the original movie, Joe Pendleton is a pug from Jersey, who's a boxer, and who plays a saxophone when he flies a plane to make extra money because boxing don't play too good, And so what happens is he's flying the plane, tooting on his horn, minding his own business. Suddenly the plane goes out of control, and just before he crashes, this angel comes out of nowhere and plucks his soul. Meanwhile, he goes up to heaven and says, "Hey, it's your number's up. My number can't be up. I'm in the pink. I'm going to be champion of the world here." And he swears he's got it. They screwed up.
Yeah.
Turns out they did screw up, except as you'll hear in the story, something happened with his body. They can't put him back in it, so they got to do something different. And hence is the comedy of Joe Pendleton and Heaven Can Wait. That's and where we have, I think Johnny Roast Beef plays my manager, who I'm trying to convince. No, it's me, Joe Pendleton, because they stick my soul in the body of this millionaire who everybody hated. And so I'm trying to bring this guy to teach this person that looks like this, hated millionaire. You got to train me to be a heavyweight champion because it's me, your pal. So that's and so you see that, and you see me with a guy named Amos Cowson who plays Mr. Jordan, who plays like God's angel. That's been moving my soul from body to body, and he has this plan for me. Except it's unbeknownst to me what his great plan is. It's a wonderful comedy, and I had to be a boxer.
Yeah.
So when I got the role, I know nothing from boxing, so I had to learn how to box. I started training and learning how to skip rope. Remember, I wasn't a jock. I was the nerdy kid. I learned how to skip rope, punch the bag, and do all these things. I transformed my body to look like a boxer. So I guess that's
your BMI went way down then.
Went way down then. So I think that's what you might
clip we got. Yeah. Heaven Can Wait. Dr. Rico's here doing his thing. Here we go.
Hey, this ain't so bad. Sponsors just like the club. Maybe a little flat here and there, but I'll soon fix that.
I told you you'd be perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, but since I get you my head done, really him.
You'll get accustomed to it.
May I look like him?
Of course.
Maybe it's this robe, huh?
Wow.
Your Farnsworth, Joe.
I guess if a guy like you said it so, but guess I still feel the same. I talk the same. I don't feel no change.
Don't vex your mind about it, Joe. It is at once too simple and too complex for your easy comprehension. Inwardly, nothing has changed. You're still Joe Littleton. Outwardly, you're Jonathan Farnsworth. Indeed.
Oh, I believe you, all right. What about Mrs. Farnsworth? Make it be able to fool her.
You have already, and quite successfully, too.
Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Hey, when I came down out of that bedroom, she looked like a ghost.
It amounted to that.
Is the doctor still with her?
Oh, yes, but she'll be all right. She's gradually getting over the shock.
Hey, and how's Tony Abbott, my confidential secretary? He looked pretty pale around the gills, too, and I said, hey, Miss Logan, glad to meet you. Yeah, I did that real good, huh?
You were superb.
Yeah, it must have been.
Yes.
Hey, Betty thought it was Farnsworth.
Of course.
I told her to come down this morning, get her squared away. But how am I going to do it?
You'll find it a comparatively task.
I don't know about that, Mr. Jordan. I mean, I'm not a very bright guy. I mean, I'm going to catch on all this high finance stuff, stocks, bonds, and debentures.
The benches, Joe.
Yeah, Farnsworth's desk is
No,
full
no,
of
no,
that crap.
no. Your desk. You'll be surprised how easily all of this will come to you.
All right, well, just stay close to me if I get the hang of things.
Be glad to.
Hey, can you imagine what happened if the police department found out about this? I mean, here we got this millionaire, drowned in the tub, my wife and sweetie, comes back to life, cops leaving my sick. How do you people do it?
There are no mysteries left to explore, Joe. One will lose the spiritual joy of contemplating the workings of the universe. Life would be rather dull.
Yeah, you got it now, a life for everything. Did you hear that?
How much go, Joe?
The paging, huh?
I'll be back.
Take a look at me, Max. Don't you know me?
Sure I know you. Everybody knows you, Mr. Farnsworth.
Lay your eyes, you dumbass. I ain't Farnsworth. I'm Joe Pendleton. You're Joe.
They're nuts, Mr. Farnsworth.
Look, Max, I'm not look like Joe anymore. But I swear I'm just the same. And it's all your fault.
My fault, huh?
Yeah, if it was such a goddamn hurry to cremate my body, I wouldn't be in this jam right now.
Oh, Mr. Farnsworth, you know, maybe your wife is right. You need that doctor.
You're gonna need one soon unless you stop. Oh, that's the guy I
Listen,
want to see.
Ruby, I'm a busy
You gotta let me
man.
get this over to Max here.
Oh, got things to do.
This is Max Levine, the guy cremated me. Max, this is Mr. Jordan.
Hi, Mr. Jordan. How are you? My pleasure to meet you, Mr. Jordan. What do you say the three of us have a drink, huh?
Sure.
Help yourself, Max.
I got to tell you, Max, you can't see him.
Well, maybe if I have a few, I will.
You can't see him because he ain't dead yet.
Ain't no cheating. All right, that's for you. This will be for me. And this one here, I'm going to keep an eye on because if that disappears, I'm calling the taxi right to the garage. I gotta go, right?
Where do you think you're going? Whoa, you're gonna run out of $1 million?
$1 million.
Sit down. Down. Just so you understand.
You can do it yourself, Joe. Try.
I can. Max, look, Max, you gotta believe I'm your Joe. Remember the airplane trips I used to make between Jersey and Omaha 3 times a week? Well, on the last trip, right, something went flew, you see, and the ship headed for a crash. And the dame, you know, the one that was here you couldn't see because you weren't dead yet? Well, that dame, she's a messenger, see, and they go around collecting people. So now the war's going on and it's busy season. So that dame pulls a boner and collects me before I'm dead. But now, she's got to make good. Get it?
I get it.
Yeah?
And you know what you want to get? A doctor! The best one there is!
I'm gonna make you believe I'm Joe if I gotta pound you into Joe here. How do you know all this stuff about Joe if I wasn't Joe? After all, you got 40% of me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's nice. When did you give me a piece of you?
Since that time in Astoria, when you saw me put away Butcher Boy Mackenzie, you said I had class, I had color, or what the fans wanted, like the Manasseh Moore. And you got a sister named Rosie, 3 kids, but never got married.
Hey, pipe down at somebody's level. I hear you. How do you know about my family?
Cause I'm Joe, you dope. And I could tell you a lot more. Like, remember that time on the boat opening when Nina caught you with...
Hey! Who anyway?
I'm Joe. I'm only a Farnsworth's body if you in such a rush to burn my own. I'll prove it to you, huh? Remember this?
Sure, that's Joe's. Poor Joe.
You cut the phony tears. This ought to prove I'm telling the truth.
Where'd you get that?
It's mine. Look, I'll play some music for you to play, okay?
That's from the... Oh,
You think Farnsworth could play like that?
no.
Hey, remember the old handshake? Huh?
Joe. Joe! My Joe! Joe! Joe!
He knows me. He knows me. He knows work.
I'm seeing things.
No.
I'm seeing things. Oh, it's the scotch. I gotta go for next time. No.
Max, it's okay. Speak to me, Max.
You really Joe?
Yeah. Inside I'm Joe. Outside I'm Farnsworth the banker.
Farnsworth the banker.
You know, when the lights went out, I was trying hard to remember where I heard your voice. It sounded so familiar. I heard it once before. I couldn't remember where I went. Did you feel anything, Miss Logan?
Yes, I did. I seemed to be standing high up on a hilltop, looking down at the sea, and you were there. You were swimming towards the shore, shouting something at me, something I heard so long ago.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we knew each other some other time, way back when. I mean, stranger things could happen. Anyway, you don't seem like a stranger to me. Like I've always known you. And you couldn't be strangers if you feel like that. Could we?
Perhaps not. I should go.
No, please don't. I don't know why I feel like this, but I'd be awful lonesome if you left right now.
Very cool clips
goodness.
there. Took you back in time. How everybody was commenting, loving it, fantastic, really cool, special. I think that's awesome. You get that kind of feedback. Yeah, let's see. This is great and fantastico, great. Caesar says fantastico, and Jane is watching in Sweden, where it's quite late at night. She's one of our regular faithful viewers. We have viewers that literally watch our series all around the world. It's an international brood we have here, wonderful audience. This leads us to, and because I know you're a cardiologist, so you know you could get a phone call or somebody can run into the office there because you're at the facility. So, so far so good, right? Everybody's okay. The patients.
During that clip, somebody walked in. And I was clarifying some instructions with him. Patient stopped by to pick up some samples of meds his insurance isn't going to cover yet. So I'm trying to give him some samples and try to get him work with the insurance company to get him the right medicines, which is another challenge because we have great new drugs and great things that can actually change how we treat certain diseases, except they're not affordable yet for everybody. So it's that's the second hoop. The first hoop is science, and the next hoop is economics, which for us, as far as for the patients go.
Got to work on that. Yeah, absolutely. Cool stuff. And again, you healing body and soul through your art and through your medical prowess. And this leads us to this production that I know you mentioned a little of, Rico, which is really near and dear to your heart, that you produced, so heavily involved in, and that is Frank and Ava, of course, noting the lives of Frank Sinatra and Ava Gardner. Tell us about the inspiration for this and what it was like just being really so deeply involved in it. And kudos and congratulations on this labor of love for you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for that. It all came from, you know, Willard Manus, who the playwright of Berlin Cowboys, who wrote this 2-character play called Frank and Ava. And I remember we workshopped it at the Actors Studio. We read the first act, and it's basically Frank and Ava having these 10 scenes and going through basically his struggle. This is 1949, 1950, when Frank Sinatra was being run out of Hollywood. You know, he was a Bobby Sockler. He wooed all the kids, you know, growing up. He was the string bean crooner. And then as he got older, he got a reputation as being a bad boy. You know, his extramarital affairs, his politics was too liberal. His mob connections were written about, and even I think the studios were trying to cut his contract on a morality clause, and record labels dropped him because nobody wanted to listen to him anymore. And this was a low point of his life. And at the same time, he meets Ava Gardner, who was 24, and by that time she had been already married to Mickey Rooney, one of the biggest stars at the time, and Artie Shaw, a big band leader, and was dating Howard Hughes, the richest, most powerful man in the world. And Frank wants two things. He wants her, and he wants to get his career back. And he sees getting his career back is getting the part of Angelo Maggio in the movie From Here to Eternity that Columbia Pictures was in the process of developing. And so the play, the one act that we read at the studio, you know, was basically, you know, back and forth about these various moments that I just talked about. And at the end of reading the first act, they asked around, you know, for feedback. And one person raised their hand and said, I don't understand this play. It's about two people who drink and screw all day. Who wants to watch that? And then somebody else raised their hand. Obviously, you haven't been to the right theater. So that became, and you know, so
Yeah.
and so a play was born. Will wrote the whole second act, and we produced the play in Hollywood. And it was a magical play. It was a magical moment. People really took to the story because you're taking the story of an iconic person and not really telling his whole life story, but you're telling about this one period in his life that's kind of the turning point, you know, the comeback. And so I found the audience response to the play was inspiring, and the story was compelling. And I thought this would be a great movie, a great way to tell a story of Frank Sinatra, just based on this moment in his life. You know, the moment when his career is down and he meets Ava, and the one-liner, once again, not to spoil it, is that in breaking him, Ava made him, and
Yes.
and the Frank Sinatra that came out on the other side of that, of meeting Ava Gardner, was not this happy-go-lucky, confident crooner who had the women swaying. No, he was a man with gravitas who was kind of broken. And in fact, his acting, that you see in From Here to Eternity and Man with the Golden Arm and films afterwards, and his singing, all those Nelson Riddle songs about heartbreak, really showed that. It was palpable. So she helped. She really saved him by breaking him. And this story is about that journey, that encounter, that romance that he couldn't have, that impossible love and that impossible dream. So it was pretty compelling. So that started me on the journey to try to tell the story on the screen.
Absolutely incredible. And we actually are blessed, Rico, with a clip from Frank and Ava that I know everybody's going to enjoy. So let's take a look at that, and we'll be back with the crooner and the good doctor after we take a look at this clip. Enjoy, everybody.
This guy's going places, mostly down. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Sinatra.
Let's face it, after 15 years it's over. I lost my voice, I lost my audience. Yesterday's news, Jack.
Well, no, I've never been much of a fan.
How you doing?
Making pictures. How about you?
I'm trying to pick myself off my ass.
The married voiceless crooner has been spotted shamelessly occupying the shadow of one Ava Gardner.
Forward march!
I only have eyes for you.
This coming from a married man.
That green-eyed, filthy, white trash whore's got her hooks in you?
Your marriage is falling apart.
The whole world is crashing down on you.
Frank, take a nice little dago wop that you are.
You rat cocksucker! I want to play Maggio.
I know you want to play Maggio. I got your telegram.
Come on, give me a chance to act.
What do you know from acting? You know how to sing.
All I ever wanted in the world was to be a singer. Now, you're all I want.
Oh, my, oh, my.
You've got to give her up, Frank. You're ruining your career chasing after her.
Who's gone? Who are you talking about? Girl. Can't stay together, can't stay apart.
A billion broads in the world, you pick the one that can take you or leave you whenever she wants.
We can't help but jump into bed with others.
What do you say we get married?
I can't believe how they can carry on like that.
I can. You've just forgotten how.
Really, really cool. Wow. A lot of people commenting too. Where can people see that? Because now we've teased them. They want more and more and more for sure.
It's on Amazon Prime. You can see
Amazon Prime.
And I think it may be even on YouTube video. You can download it there as well.
That is cool. What has the response been to it so far? Again, that's your baby and a real labor of love, trying to, painstakingly and authentically tell those rich stories, right, Rico?
Yeah, no, it's a labor of love, a labor of collaboration. A lot of the actors in the movie, I won't say who, some are my patients, and others became my patients, and they're people I've met along the way in the journey.
Yeah.
When I was talking about making this movie, it was great. I had actors coming up to me, like well-known actors coming up to me saying, hey, I heard you're doing this movie. Well, you got a part for me? And I'd be like, well, I really can't afford your day rate. You just got nominated for, who says day rate? I want to be in your movie. I want to help you out. And so the beauty of it was being able to have these actors who wanted to work, who wanted to participate, and then being able to sit back as a screenwriter to write scenes which fit their essence, their soul. So basically, when you see these scenes, these actors are just in their element, it's just kind of, the dialogue just oozes out. It's incredible.
You've worked with some amazing people. We saw Eric Roberts in there in that clip. And what was it like working with the fellow actors and actresses to put this all together, and the crew and production team? It takes a village, of course.
Oh, it takes a village and a lot of patience and a lot of help. I mean, we had collaboration with from Doug Kaplan, All Edge Entertainment. He contributed coming in with cameras and crew and some financing, and Michael Oblowitz was our director, and Emily Elisa Lowe was incredible as Ava Gardner. But having people wanting to work on this. And also with the schedule, we didn't really have, it wasn't like a 30-day shoot in a row. It was a weekend here, a weekend there, a week in Italy, and a weekend at Palm Springs at Sinatra's house. So there were some pretty interesting locations, and there was also a lot of kismet and how some things came together. Finding Sinatra's house was a total serendipity. We're trying to find a house that looked like Sinatra's house. This house became available. So we shot there. We shot at Fatty Arbuckle's old mansion up in the Hollywood Hills for one of the big party scenes. We found a 1949 DC-3 sitting out in Riverside that we shot some airplane scenes in. And we shot in Rome. We shot in Italy. We shot at a hotel that Sinatra used to stay in. We shot in the Spanish Steps, in fountains. We had these amazing locations that it's like alignment of the stars to getting these things to happen. And the actors, knowing that this wasn't a multi-million-dollar project, so that they worked within the confines of our budget and our time restrictions, and they gave their all. I mean, and the reward was that I wrote some really, really great scenes for them, some meaty scenes, and there were some things that just kind of I stumbled upon. So, for example, there's a scene. There's a scene in the movie where these two actors have an adversarial role with one another, and not knowing that these guys had a history of not trusting each other on screen. Because when I wrote the scene, I got a call from each actor saying, "You better make sure I get the last line because I don't want the other guy stealing the scene from me," and that subtext played out, through the scenes. So there's a lot of scenes where we found the chemistry and the energy of the actor, which lit up on screen. Even for myself, it wasn't easy because you're trying to act and you're trying to produce and you're trying to get everyone to be happy and play well together and make sure that everyone's fed and we're there, not too late. So between takes, people coming up to me, "Hey, somebody got their car towed. You need to give us some money to go get out of tow," or so and so's wardrobe doesn't fit. Give me $300 to go pick up another dress. And
always the caretaker.
Always the caretaker. But here's the thing: the movie is about Frank being harassed on all sides, and so I just let it work with me. And so throughout the play, these moments where Frank looks like he's pretty beat up by life, I let getting beat up trying to make a movie work into the scenes because
and
it worked out great. I mean, not recommended, as to do for the next production, but it's kind of in a way where that kind of worked out, And you see some people like Harry Dean Stanton. That was his last role in film. Harry was terrific. You see Katherine Hellman. That was probably one of her last roles.
One of her last roles.
Yeah. So, and like I said, a lot of people were eager to help out and come up and do work in this. So, like I said, and when you have people like that, willing to work and say, "Come on, let's do it," And Harry, in between, he shot early in the production and late in the production. In between, he was hospitalized, and I remember when he got out of the hospital, he says, "I gotta finish your movie before I croak. Let's go do the extra scene we got to do." That's typical Harry, vintage Harry, and he came back and did the second scene. If you watch in the movie, you see the first time you see him, the second time you see him, you see that there's time between it, and he made a point to do it because he really wanted the project to succeed, and he really was a fan. And Harry used to always say, "You know what you got to do when you're acting?" I said, "What, Harry?" "Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just be you." And every time we do a scene, he goes, "Rico, you doing nothing?" "Sure, Harry. Good boy."
And it's true. There's truth to that, right? You just let the essence of you blend in with the character, and then you've got it made. Sometimes some people overdo it and they overact it, and it destroys the essence and the authenticity of the character, right?
Yeah. Well, so I was doing the play, a lot of guys in the studio were saying, "So Rico, how do you get to play an iconic character? What preparation did you do?" I said, "Well, I don't really think of it as an iconic character. I'm playing an Italian American who hung out with gangsters, who would kind of had a swagger to him, and chase women, and finds that impossible love that he has to have. So, so if he could sing, my father was Sinatra. My father was a 5'9", blue-eyed guy, hung around, wise guys and knocked around, and that was his world. So me as a kid being around my dad, in fact, with my dad meeting Sinatra as a kid at the Westchester Premier Theater, that was his world. So that's the spine of the character, a guy like my dad. And then as far as impossible loves and impossible dreams, wanting to be a doctor in my neighborhood, that's an impossible dream. So we know what it is to want something so bad and that you can taste it, and no one else really appreciates how important it is to you. And impossible love, we've all had that one person that has our number that's going to make us stand in the Eiffel Tower at 4:00 in the morning, running out of coins, trying to get her on the phone. Thinking if you keep her on the phone, she'll take me back. It's like it's like we've all been there. So you draw from experiences, and you put them in there, and that's the character. That's Sinatra. That's the movie.
Very, very cool. A lot of people are already commenting they can't wait to see it. They want to check it out now. You've also had, and again, congratulations with that, because again, I know it was something that you really wanted to get right, and you did. Plus, I mean, you've got a plethora of other incredible productions you've been involved in, even a number of times on Days of Our Lives, the soap opera too, right? What was that like?
That was great. Milt Suchin, a dear friend and manager, says, "Hey, there's a role in Days of Our Lives. They need a gangster named Rico." I said, I don't have to change my name. There you go, Rico. Perfect.
Rico. I mean, that wasn't a stretch, huh?
but it was terrific because I've never done a soap before. I was on it. I think it was 6 or 8 episodes, but it was great working with them and working with the cast, and it was close to being like theater because you have a lot of dialogue and you're standing there and you're working with it, and you're also kind of improv to try to create like this energy. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. I got fan mail.
It's not as easy as it looks, right? Because some of the scripts are this thick, and you're shooting a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why they tend to like theater actors and soap operas, because you have a lot of pages and they make changes at the last minute. You got to be able to roll with it and stay true to it, and also find life in it. You can't just sit there and babble dialogue. You have to sit there and create a life. You take out a lighter, light a cigarette, look around, kind of feel where you are, look the actor in the eye, try to, you want to play, you want to be real in the moment, even though they're going to edit and cut and go to commercial. You don't care about that. You do your work and let them worry about where you stick the commercial in.
Exactly right. Exactly. And it takes tenacity to do that. A couple other quick things that you've been involved in too. Dear Eleanor, tell us about that.
Oh, that was my friend Kevin Connolly. He directed that. And he said, "I got a part for you. We're going to bring you to Denver." And so I remember when I got there, it was funny. Hey, doctor's on set. And remember, this is Denver just when Colorado passed the law to legalize THC. And I get there, and there's probably maybe a dozen people in the crew who got sick buying legalized marijuana and smoking it at 5,000 feet, thinking that wasn't going to bother them.
Yeah, that's right. The Mile High City, Denver.
Mile High City. So everyone's asking me, "What do you do?" I go, "Well, how about don't smoke, drink plenty of fluids, and And so I had the lovely fortune to do a scene with Jessica Alba, and she was terrific. I played actually a casting director, and she's auditioning for me. And Jessica was amazing because we the scene was basically improvised. Kevin says, "Listen, she comes in, she's trying out for a role, and you hear her do the part, and she screws up, and then you tell her, basically telling her forget about it. Then she asks for one more try, then she tries it again, and of course she knocks it out of the park. That's the scene. That's what I wanted because there's a script there, but whatever you want to bring to it, you bring to it." And Jessica was very generous. She sat there. We did rehearsals. I brought some things to it. I even incorporated an extra. That's every extra's dream to have to be incorporated into a scene because most extras don't get dialogue, don't get action. So there was an extra standing there. I brought her into it, and it was a great moment to have. And that was great to work with her. Great to work with Kevin.
Really cool opportunities that have come your way with friends and others, which I think is really special. Tell us about this too. It's another one you're involved in. Good Day to Die Hard, huh? People probably remember that one.
So director of this is John Moore. John Moore, Irishman, directs lots of action films. A great guy. And the way I met him is actually you already showed the clip of the play. So John Moore had just come in to get a clearance physical from the studio, and so he was assigned, came to me, and so we did the physical. Everything was fine, and I remember saying to him, I said, "So what are your plans? You're going back to Dublin?" He says, "No, I'm going to see a Sorkin play tonight. He's my favorite playwright. It's A Few Good Men. I'd love to see it." And I said, "Well, not to give him too much away, I go, I heard it's pretty good. I heard the lead's not too bad either." So he goes to see the play, and it's me. I'm Kathy. And he comes backstage. He goes, "You're the lead of the play, and my doctor. You're going to be in all my movies from now on. This is brilliant." Yeah. And so he put me in a couple of films, and including Die Hard. So that was so it was great to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Max Payne also, huh?
That was the first film with John Moore where I got to do a scene with Wahlberg. And flew me to Toronto, and we had a lot of fun, Mark and I.
Yeah, here's another one, Pierce Brosnan.
That's another John Moore film. They flew me to Dublin, and in fact, Pierce is a very, very, very generous actor. I remember because we had a scene where I have to handcuff him, I have to arrest him. A bit of a row. I remember he came to my trailer. He says, "So Rico Pierce, listen, we got to do a scene together. How about we have a pint? We talk about it." So we're sitting there, we're drinking, talking about how to safely do the scene, and he was terrific. And I also knew his son. Actually, his son Sean, who was in LA, and actually I'm friends with Sean, and I was there. I saw Sean in the birth of Pierce's granddaughter, so I got to see that. So so great guy. Got to work in Dublin. Got to work with John Moore again. So it's like I said, it's about relationships. It's about people knowing that you know how to deliver when you have to deliver, and doing the work. And not making about anything else but the work, you know. So
and sometimes it's God's work.
Yeah, there you go. This is great. I got to work with Stephen and Corbin and Lorenzo, and it was I played the militant atheist who wasn't buying into what Stephen was
the whole.
So it was great. We helped deliver a message there, but Steve and I became friends on that production. Yeah, it was great.
Well, somebody that's sort of like my sidekick on the Jim Masters Show Live played God, and he sends his regards, Mr. George Burns. You almost did a spit take.
Pretty close.
He's got his. I shouldn't show the doctor, but he's got his cigar. But he made it to 100.
Made it to 100 with the cigar. I think he buried more doctors than most.
Exactly. And then one other quick one we got here, just for variety. Stalked by my doctor. Patient's Revenge.
God. Yes, that's another.
That's Eric. That's Eric.
That's
Roberts.
Eric.
There he is.
That is Eric. That's another time I got to work with Eric, and that was actually a really nice role. I got to play the dean of the medical school who hired Eric, who didn't believe all the rumors about Eric being this creepy guy who creeped on his students or patients, and it was a great role. And I thank Eric and Eliza for being friends and being champions and saying, "Hey, Rico, you should try for this role," and it worked out great.
That's again, it shows variety, it shows versatility, and at the same time managing a career as a noted physician, cardiologist, which that alone, is very involved and stressful, and you got to keep up on all the latest and take care of people. It's how does Rico find balance? What is your Zen? Where do you go for your Zen, your peace, and because both areas, being in the medical field, being in Hollywood and entertainment, both can really, suck up a lot of your energy, because there's a lot of emotion in both areas that you're putting in. As much as you have the skill and the expertise, there's so much of your own emotion riding on all of it. So what do you do to find balance, to calm, to sort of reboot and refresh so you can go back into either area and give it your all?
To me, I think exploring nature, hiking, going on a trail where you climb a rock and sit up there and kind of just be you and the rock and the sunset. That's part of it. That's kind of like a meditation for me. Trying to stay healthy, trying to and then also being with friends that enrich you. I mean, it's because we're going through this journey through life. So there's people we meet along the way that touch us certain ways, and just gathering with people that enrich you, that feed you. That's always good. That's part of that. Of course, there's being a New York Mets fan, which it's not always the most gratifying thing to do, but you got to put
that requires Alka-Seltzer and Tums, and
then some, and then some,
and we both still have our hair, being Mets fans.
There you go. So you have to find a balance. I think exercise and traveling, exploring nature, exploring the there's beautiful things on this planet. There's beautiful people on this planet, and and you have to see that. You have to watch it because we're only here not that long.
Borrowed time. There's no guarantee or warranty on any of this. And as we've learned with COVID and everything over the last year, even more than ever, life is short, precious, and valuable. And we really need to take a moment to savor it all. What are some of those blessings and joys in your life, Rico, that continue to inspire you along the way to do what you do in the medical field, in acting, and everything else? Because, you know, in a way, you're touching people's lives and impacting their lives in deep ways in both areas that you've made, you know, expert areas for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's your friends, really close friends. It becomes like your family. There's like my LA family, which is people that I work with, people I know, that I trust, people that are fans. Like when I was sick with COVID, it was very touching because I had people calling me, reaching out to me who were concerned. I had people sending potions from their private naturopath doctor to my house, to my door. They, doc, try this, it's really good. People bringing teas from apothecaries from Chinatown with all these things. I mean, I drank. I remember drinking 3 pots of tea from this, looked like a bag of dirt. I mean, all these things, and I had no sense of smell or taste, so I just drank it. And I remember I saved a second bag in the freezer for another time, and when I regained my sense of smell, I went and smelled the bag. I said, "My God, it's like cow dung. I drank this." But these are friends that brought things that they were concerned. It worked. Yeah, all taken together, they all kind of helped me get back to health. And those are the people that came forward and really reached out and you know, and this, I mean, there and you know, people from big A-list celebrities to you know, people that all walks of life who cared and called and were concerned and were there. And I think that the thing we learned is that, you know, we're all human and we're all vulnerable. And no matter where we are in life, life's going to humble us. And there are people that appreciate that humility, no matter how famous they may be or how important or how rich they may be or how powerful they may be, because they understand that. And that humility comes out in their work, comes out in some part of their life, because they know that we're only here for a short time, and they appreciate, you know, I mean, I was really touched by even colleagues I work with that reached out when I was sick to make sure I was okay. And that's when you really see, you know, who's really around, you know. And then I have my family back in Brooklyn that, you know, all the cousins and all back there.
What's it like, or what was it like the first time you went back? It must have been like, hey, hometown kid makes good. That must have been, you know, in lieu of maybe a ticker tape parade for you. It must have been really cool when you went back to see the family and they see the, you know, the success in both areas of your life and been very proud of you as well, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they are. I mean, it's for me, it's still a somewhat of a dream or altered perception, because I go back there and they all want to hear about what I did, where I work with, and I said, I'm just doing what I like to do. I don't really see it with the same lens that they look at it, you know. And so, and I still, you know, I keep thinking of other things I want to do, other things I want to accomplish, or other people I want to touch, or things. You know, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want to really do that's gonna affect you? I think at the end of the day, we want to affect people. If you affect somebody in their seat, either in the theater or at home, or if you affect the patient on the exam table, or if you change the way someone thinks about something, even for a little bit, you know, you have a chance to make a difference in the world. And then at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make a difference and affect people to look at something beyond themselves, because really, you know, it's what more noble thing is there than to be part of something bigger than us?
Yes.
And at the end of it, it's even medicine's a profession bigger than us. The theater and acting and telling stories is something bigger than us because it's been going on since people wrote on caves. They told stories. So we're all part of something bigger than us, and that we could be just part of that fabric, that quilt, even for a small time. That somebody could look back and say, "Oh wow, look at this point in time. Look at this era."
That's what they're going to say in the archives in perpetuity when they watch this incredible episode of the Jim Master Show live, Rico. I don't doubt. What are before we wrap, what are one or two of those things on the Rico bucket list that you would still love to do, love to tackle, love to be a part of?
Yeah. Well, so the thing I've always struggled with was trying to tell the story of my dad and me, because that's always the toughest stuff, I think, for an actor or any person to tell. He, like I said, he was a very charismatic, frustrating, and compelling character, and there are a lot of crazy stories of how he adapted in life and his way of living, and how some of those things were imparted on me, and some of those things I kind of decided not to do.
Right.
So it's almost like my father used to say, "You're my kid. You should own this town. You should do it." Yeah, I go, yeah, but once you there's a line you cross. Once you cross it, you can't go back. And so, but he was a survivor. He survived the shipwreck of the Andrea Doria. He survived the German roundup in Naples. They were going to do. There was a reprisal execution. They rounded up a bunch of Napolitans in his town in Italy. And he escaped that, getting shot. So he was a survivor, and he also had a way of walking into a room and sizing up, who was holding the aces and who was bluffing. And,
did he pass that down to you? Are you able to do that? I am, and that has been passed down. I can go in a room and size up.
That's
situation. It's a
correct.
gift.
That's a gift they definitely imparted upon me. Of course, the curse is what you do with it, because because you could really use it to really take advantage, or you could really use it to call people and make a lot of enemies, or you could just sit there and have that knowledge in the back of your mind and use it when you have to. And sometimes you gotta let somebody think they're getting away with something, because you want to see, because maybe they're doing it out of fear, out of concern. It's like you have to learn a different kind of zen, like why like a lion hunts a certain way because it's a lion, and a tiger does a certain thing because it's a tiger. And so as long as you know who the lions and the tigers are, that doesn't mean you have to shoot them. It means you have to observe them and keep a safe distance, or learn, or try to get them to maybe not kill every gazelle.
Yeah, exactly. I found that some of that intuition has allowed me to be able to actually guide other people in a direction so they don't get involved in something, or they don't fall off the cliff, or they don't make that decision. I'm getting a vibe about that other person. You might want to just dig deeper before you sign up, or what have you. I bet you have helped people along the way with some of that subtle advice too.
Subtle advice, subtle advice, and leading by example, and sometimes shaking people up when you have to. But it's because we all have a, not to be Star Wars. We all have there's the opportunities to be on the dark side. It's very easy to cross, because but like I said, once you start being a coal miner, you can't wash the coal dust off, no matter how much you try. Right. And so you got to learn that, and there's consequences of every action. Maybe not the foreseeable future, but somewhere down the line where it changes you.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you've really been riding along fully, Doctor, and extraordinary life, well lived, and continues to be. And this was really, I toast you with a fancy martini glass that has nothing but pink lemonade in it, because I knew the doc was in the house.
Salud.
Salud. It's slancha. This was amazing, and I hope this show met whatever expectations that you had, and you enjoyed the time with me, Rico, as much as I certainly have with you. This was felt as if we were in the same room or at a diner just chatting, and that's the kind of atmosphere I like to present, not just on this show, it's my professional work in TV and radio, and it's just the way I am. I like to make it warm, conversational, freestyle, and easy.
Jim, I had a great time, and yeah, I felt like I was at a diner. I think the waitress needs to give me a couple more cups of coffee. I'd like to have my cup filled at least 7 times on the diner. but yeah, this was wonderful, Jim, and I'm a fan, and I'll continue to be a fan, and I think you're a great host and very generous host, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and speak to you and get to know you and share some things.
Well, the pleasure was all mine. A couple of comments coming in. Rick Newman says, very cool interview. Thanks, gentlemen. Our pleasure. Rachel is here. Great to hear from you today, Rico, and good to see you, Rachel. And anybody watching that's new, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our episodes. We do this 7 days a week, which is amazing. Thank you, Dr. Rico, for this wonderful evening. This is Ann in Jacksonville, Florida. What a great way to start the weekend. You've helped me to realize it's time to return to the YMCA for silver sneakers. See, the inspiration never stops. Great conversation tonight, Jim and Rico. Thanks so much, Kathy Short in Cleveland, Ohio. Juanita watching in South Africa. This was an amazing and interesting conversation. Thank you, Dr. Rico, for spending time with us as well. Jane watching in Sweden. Great show, great guest and host. Perfect. I appreciate that. Just some of the comments coming in. Rico, again, thanks very much for being with us tonight. Let's stay in touch. I hope whether you're back east or I'm out west on a TV shoot or something, we get together, maybe break bread. That would be perfect.
That would be great, Jim. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And you just keep doing what you're doing, inspiring people in the way that you do so beautifully, my friend. You take care, okay?
All right. Take care now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Doctor, actor, extraordinaire, and so much more. And just an all-around great guy, Dr. Simonini. We are so honored to have him here on the show. And we even got a chance to talk about New York and baseball and a whole host. That's what we love to do here. It's all conversational. It's all we're all connected here in and that's what we do with inspiring conversations, great entertainment, as we say, light, love, and levity. And you see us bantering that word levity around, and that's because in the summertime I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. And ever the New Yorker, I said it a little too fast, and I said levity. And ever since I said that word levity, the viewers fell in love with the word levity, so they call themselves the Levities. They call me Mr. Levity. They call this Levity Hall. They call our guests Levities, and I really think that's cool. You got a chance to learn a little bit more about somebody who maybe you have followed some of his acting and film producing and screenwriting over the years, and maybe you didn't know he was a renowned cardiologist, or vice versa. Maybe you knew him as the cardiologist and didn't realize he had this brilliant acting and theatrical career coinciding with his medical expertise as well. So talk about full circle and well-rounded. And I love that. There is his logo. Isn't that cool how he made that happen? That's his logo for his practice. I think that's really, really cool. That's a great signature. You got a chance to see some of the amazing things that he's been a part of. And again, you want to check this out. He said Amazon Prime and other areas where you can find Frank and Ava. That's really an epic production. And again, this is one of his many babies because he worked on that tirelessly with the team. Rick Newman says, I'm subscribing, Jim. Thanks, Rick. Tell everybody you know on planet Earth about this really unique and cool show that we call the Jim Masters Show Live. Again, I do this work professionally in television, radio, and stage, and we created this show about a year ago out of my work in broadcast, and we've done about 410 episodes. You can see all the episodes. Ruta Lee was on a couple of nights ago, the Hollywood legend. John Davidson was on with us. I mean, it's incredible the amount of people we've had and more to come. Marianne Ross, who played Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days, is joining us. Rosalind Kind, wonderful singer and entertainer, sister of Barbara Streisand. She's coming on next week. Matter of fact, let's show you some of the guests that are coming on. We have some amazing people. Tomorrow, live from Belgium, special time. We're doing 2 shows tomorrow. Wow. Knock 'em dead, huh? Malou Beauvoir is with us live from Brussels, Belgium. She's an extraordinary singer and songwriter. She's all excited to be here. We have lots of music to share with you. She's a brilliant singer and actress and songwriter. And she was born in Haiti. She lives in Brussels, and she's going to be here tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. 2 p.m. East. How could that be 2 p.m.? Did I say 2 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific? There's no such thing. 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. And the reason why we're doing it at that time is because that'll be 8 p.m. for her in Europe, in Belgium. So her fans and family and friends can watch. So join us at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. That's Saturday. And then tomorrow night, oh boy, we have another incredible group that is joining us. And they are October Project. And they're really, really cool. And they're a very popular New York City group and band, and they're going to be performing live for us as well. We got all kinds of cool things happening for you tomorrow. So 2 shows tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and then October Project. If you're not sure who they are, just Google them. You'll see all their music. You'll read all about them. They are wildly popular. A lot of people are going to be checking us out for that episode. Monday, another brilliant actress from Hollywood, as well as Grammy-nominated singer, Eileen Graff. She starred in Mr. Belvedere on ABC in the 1980s. She played the mom on the sitcom. That's going to be amazing. She's going to be with us on Monday. Can't wait for that. Then on Tuesday, David Fisher. He is a New York Times best-selling author, some 29 times. He has penned countless books, and he's got this new cool book, riveting book that is out. We're going to be talking about that. David Fisher, The Executive Order, that is his newest book. Again, a multi-award-winning author. David Fisher is with us on Tuesday. Yes, then on Wednesday, Rosalind Kind, brilliant singer, songwriter, entertainer, sister to Barbra Streisand. She's with us this Wednesday on the Jim Masters Show Live. Thursday, comedian, legendary comedy writer and actor Jeffrey Mark is going to be with us live from Hollywood. That's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be entertaining. Coming up on Thursday. We're looking forward to that as well. And again, so many more guests coming up. I do want to let you know, a week from this Saturday, Alexis Chevalier, who is his great grand uncle was the famous French actor Maurice Chevalier. Yes, Maurice Chevalier's great grand nephew, Alexis. There he is on your screen. He's going to be with us next week. And these are just some of the guests coming up on our entertainment lifestyle talk show series we call the Jim Masters Show Live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Again, sometimes we do extra episodes like we're doing tomorrow with Malou Beauvoir coming from Belgium at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, just want to let you know, this Sunday, again, for those of you watching live, if you're watching this later in the archives, then this will have already happened. So you just scroll through our archives on our YouTube channel. You can see all these episodes I'm referencing. We have Tony-nominated producer Adam Weinstock with us on Sunday. Now, that's going to be an early show at 3 p.m. So our show this Sunday is on at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, okay? Just a little adjustment of time, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, Sunday. Tony, nominated producer and award-winning producer, Adam Weinstock's going to be with us live, and it's going to be an amazing conversation. He's worked on so many incredible projects, really cool stuff. Kathy Short says, good night, Jim and Lovity. See you tomorrow. Rick Newman says, great evening. Good night, all. Rick, you're now one of the Lovities here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Tell everybody all around, post it on your social media, share the links. Tell all your friends about JMS Live. We have amazing guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, sports, comedy, culinary arts, inspiration. We do host chat shows with the viewers. We do on-location segments, just like an old school talk show, entertainment variety show did, but with a modern twist, modern vibe for today. Amazing guest and great show. Thanks, Jim. Good night, everyone. You too, Juanita in South Africa, and Madalena B. was with us as well. Hope you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We love it, Madalena. Rico, your laugh. You talking with your hands. It's been so enjoyable. I know, we took him back to his roots in Brooklyn, New York, right? It was really, really cool. And you guys are the very, very best. We taking a look at some more of these wonderful comments coming in here. Christine Clifton says, Rico, thanks for sharing so many of your fascinating stories. Enjoying all your video clips. He's seeing this because he's still in our queue window. So we're going to chat after the show. Fantastic conversation. You're a great lovely for sure. Absolutely. Christine in North Carolina. You have a great night. We'll see you over the weekend too. Jim, this was an awesome evening. Thank you. And wishing everyone a very good night. You as well. And Ann is in Jacksonville, Florida. Great conversation. Hi, Jim and Rico. Thanks so much. Kathy Short in Cleveland, Ohio. Been a busy day for me. I was on the air all day today in my professional work, and then switched hats, came to this seat here to host and produce the Jim Masters Show live. And then busy weekend, 2 shows tomorrow. Then we got a show on Sunday. And a busy week of amazing guests all next week as well. Good stuff, gang. Hope you enjoy yourself. And it's always a pleasure to have you guys here. We love you all. Thanks for being with us on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. And if you've been with us weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, you can see all the episodes on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Over 400 episodes. Hard to believe. We had a 1-year anniversary epic celebration show with multiple celebrity guests and so much more. If you didn't see that episode, check it on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That was a fun episode, and so many amazing moments and memories and guests and conversations with our viewers and so much more. We have a good time here on the Jim Masters Show Live, and we work hard to put together a really good show to entertain and inspire everybody. Don't forget to smile, gang. We say that on every show. Don't forget to share the levity. You know, Rico had made some really great points about life being precious and short. He knows, he sees that every day of his life doing what he does as a doctor and cardiologist. And don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine, of course, is with loving family and friends. I love cycling and tennis and writing and music. And, of course, swimming in the ocean, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, walking it. You got to drag me away from the ocean. We live here along the coast in the Northeast, and I grew up near the coast. That's the Atlantic Ocean you're looking at. Love the ocean. That's a Zen place for me. Also, my work in television and radio and stage and film over the years. On air, on camera, behind the scenes, all of it. That's another Zen place for me as well. So find your Zen place, do what you love what you do, and share it with the world. The world is waiting for you to share your talent. We also say, when I remember to do it, sometimes our nights is so fast and so busy. Don't forget to relax, everybody. The good doctor, Dr. Rico, will certainly tell you to do that. Breathe and love one another, and take time for yourself. Breathe. And everybody's welcome to our show, regardless of zip code and income and gender and religious and political views and eye color and height and weight. None of that matters. You're all welcome to join us, gang, on the Jim Masters Show Live. Everybody's welcome. Don't forget to relax and love one another and be good to one another. The world can use more of that. And take care of yourself too. Put that oxygen mask on you so you can then have the oxygen to help others. I had to learn that. I was always, run to the aid of everybody first and then you, but you got to put the oxygen mask on you first so you have the oxygen to be able to help others. Christine says, really great and interesting show, Jim. Thanks. See you tomorrow. Good night, Jim and lovely friends. Thank you, Christine. Jane says she will in Sweden. That is great. And Christine says, next month will be 1 year for you watching and participating with JMS Live. That is fantastic. Has it been that long already for you, Christine? I can't believe it. Well, thank you for all your loyalty. You truly are a JMS Live lovity. Don't forget, folks, we also have a Facebook page for this show. It's called JMS Live, Lovity Hall. You're welcome to pop in and say hello. A lot of our viewers are lovities, and they're very active in that Facebook group. I try to pop in whenever I can, and my schedule allows, and say hello. I mean, they post photos and recipes and kind words and all kinds of cool stuff in our Facebook group. Also, you can find me at Jim Masters TV. That's Jim Masters TV on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and Twitch. Whew, that's a lot. All right, gang, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for joining us in this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. Again, we'd love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out here big time. And also drop a like on this episode, on this video on YouTube. I know you guys love to post in comments, and we love that. But it really also helps us if you drop a like, the thumbs up sign you see on the episode on our YouTube channel. Click that. YouTube monitors that. They love that. And drop a comment. So many, Mary Bishop and Juanita, and so many of you are doing that. If you really enjoy these shows, drop a comment on our actual YouTube channel as well, and share away. We really, really appreciate that. You guys are truly a blessing. Thanks for your time. We hope we entertained and informed and enlightened you once again here on the Jim Masters Show Live. We always aim to do that as we work behind the scenes to give you as much of ourselves as we can. We'll have to get some champagne for the 1-year viewer anniversaries coming up. Yes, I know some of you have been with me since day one, which was well over a year plus ago. We just celebrated that. The group, a Facebook group, great. That's JMS Live, Liberty Hall. Glad you love that, Jane. We created that a couple of months ago because the viewers wanted that. And I said, sure, let's have another place to play. When the show is not on, you can play in the Facebook group as well. All right, gang, we're going to sign off. This was awesome. We toast you all. We thank you all. And we hope you have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. with Malou Bourgeois, wonderful singer, songwriter, and actress coming from Brussels, Belgium. It's going to be amazing. She's all excited. They've been sharing it all over social media, all over Europe, all over the States. And then October Project, that incredible pop group, is going to be with us live from New York tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Cool stuff. All right, gang. One more comment coming in, sliding in, and that is, let's see. Christine says, yes, some relaxed wine. July 14th. That is it. That's coming up soon, is right. That is coming up soon. All right, gang. We love you all. You guys take care. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time here on JMS Live. Be well. Take care of one another. Take care of yourself. And we'll see you on the next one. Be well and take care. Bye-bye.